r/AskReddit. What makes a person boring? A bore is someone who deprives you of solitude without providing you with company. Oscar Wilde. No sense of humor and/or sense of adventure. I came here to be enlightened, not to be described. SMH. Talking about nothing but themselves. When they only talk about other people. Like talking shih tzu about people is their only personality. Having their personality centered around one single thing, and only that thing. Potheads and crossfitters. Edit. Yes. Not everyone who smokes weed is boring, but you know exactly which potheads I'm referring to. Crossfitters on the other hand. Ooh. Agreeing with everything you say, but never offering anything unique. When they agree with everything you agree with, you need to have your own opinions. This salad is excellent. I hate this restaurant, and I hate your stupid face. Sally. One-dimensional personalities. Like the always negative guy, the I only talk about work girl, or the all we do is talk about our pets or children couple. You get the gist. Having zero interests outside of work. Edit. Didn't realize this was such a problem. Thought it was just my so and me. I had no idea people were in such a serious rut. Bless you all for all the work you do. What about having zero interest in work? That would describe me. What if your work is so many random things it's hard to explain, and when you do it sounds like you're a crackhead building shih tzu to contact aliens? Then they ask the question, wow, what exactly is your job title? And it's honestly like 7 words long that describes 1/10 of what you actually do. No sense of humor. Is this supposed to be a joke or something? Cause I'm not laughing. If you have utterly nothing in common with them, chances are you bore them just as much as they bore you. Tends to happen most with friends of a friend. Relying on other people to make all decisions. I think I should upvote this. Should I? Not being passionate about anything. I'm passionate about being impassionate. My dad used to always say this. If you're bored, you're boring. I used to hate it. But there's some truth that the people in this world who are interesting are people who can find wonder in any situation. Not being able to have a meaningful conversation. I sometimes struggle with this. There are people I can talk to easily without seemingly running out of things to say/ask. But if I feel I'm the one who has to initiate, I tend to get really wrapped up in my head about what to ask/say next. And then assume the other person must think I'm dull cause I can't chit chat like a regular person. Then I see other people who can talk to anyone about anything, and I'm like, was I sick the day they taught the talking like a normal person class at school? People with no hobbies/skills. I remember always struggling to answer those questions back quote, what are your hobbies, and in hindsight, I was just super dull and barely living. Till I'm a boring person. Honestly, a lot of it comes down to storytelling. I remember listening to one of my cousins tell a story, and I realized it was super boring, but I was super interested. So I started paying attention to the way she tells stories. I like to think people are more interested in what I have to say now, but also I've had a pretty ducking crazy life so far, so there's a lot to talk about. Not recognizing when no one is interested in what they are talking about. This skill is one of the worst to learn. Because you were always telling something you were excited about, and realized no one else cared. No creativity. No original ideas. Everything is predictable. Chronic medical conditions. I have no life outside my limited world. When they don't ever do anything spontaneous. And act as if anything different/unique is weird and embarrassing. About 50% of this thread is people that misunderstand what the word boring means. And comment on things that irritate them instead. I'm quite a boring person. I'm very talkative and have interests and hobbies that most other people don't have or can't relate with. So when I talk about them, and in my mind I'm being very passionate, the other person listening is getting bored to death. Especially because I'm very old school, so most people perceive my interests as mom/granny things, which just adds to the lame/boring vibe. Also, I'm not comfortable being silent and sometimes keep talking for the sake of it. This one gets so boring even my boyfriend admits sometimes he gets sleepy listening to me talk like that. If their identity is rooted in rejecting things they dislike, instead of embracing things they like, it makes a person small, unidimensional and disconnected from the world. Have you ever noticed how, when people communicate their unpopular opinions, it's always something they dislike? Disliking things has become a trend, because by disliking something you risk absolutely nothing. By embracing something unpopular you do, and you actually become an individual. Edit. Thanks for the silver, unknown benefactor. You truly embrace the things you like. Close bracket. When the only thing you have in common to talk about is school/work. This isn't the only thing, but being so apathetic that you never express a real opinion or initiate a conversation/activity. The guy who says I guess I like all music, or its variation everything but rap and country, if you ask what music he likes. The guy who says IDK I don't really follow politics, if you mention literally any current event, no matter how apolitical. The guy who always says whatever you want to eat is fine. The guy who watches the TV in a trance when a football game is on, but doesn't get excited if his team is winning or losing, because IDK I don't really follow sports. The guy who has no favorite books or movies or video games, who doesn't have any hobbies aside from playing the same video game or drinking the same beer at the same bar. The guy who's never got anything to say, positive or negative, about anything around him. Everything and everyone are fine. He kind of likes stuff, I guess, in that he doesn't particularly hate it. But you also don't know if he is capable of hating anything, because he never branches out of a narrow range of basic things. Or if he does, it's never wow, that's for introducing me to that, I like it, or OMG never expose me to that. It's awful you show him a movie that doesn't star Adam Sandler or involve explosions, and it's IDK. It was kinda weird, I guess. Haha, this guy likes to paint himself as easygoing, chill, and lacking drama. But in reality, he is boring. He confuses lack of tension with positivity. This doesn't mean that liking music, books, politics, sports, movies, or drama makes one interesting, but it at least gives a person something to talk about. If everything is IDK fine, the ability to converse, connect, and expand is dead. I wish I could say that most of these guys are heavy stoners and are just too high to be expressive. But I have met plenty that have never touched a drug in their life. Edit. Well, this blew up. A few things / No, I'm not describing someone with depression, which this type of person could be depressed. What I'm describing isn't being depressed. Symptoms of depression have context, and simply being tedious to be around doesn't mean a person is depressed. Someone who has just never branched out of the routine of consume what's popular just because it's popular, and never rock the boat doesn't need to be depressed to be that way. / I'm also not describing social anxiety, fear of conflict or introversion. Those things also don't make a person interesting. Further, someone who fears conflict enough that they never express even the mildest opinion is not only boring, but they're extremely stressful to be around. So that isn't a good thing. / I might be describing someone who is a shih tzu conversationalist, but that doesn't make them not boring. / If someone like this secretly has all kind of deep interests that they never share, because us plebs would never get it, that doesn't make them not boring. That makes them both boring and a snob. / Not caring about one or several of these topics does not make a person boring, so stop asking for validation. It's not caring enough about any subject that makes a person boring. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and consider subscribing for more daily AskReddit content.